Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report, and coming up here today, I'm going to tell you why Josh Jacobs needs to fire his agent. Before I get into that, though, huge shout-out to today's sponsor, Panda Sups, and the owner of Panda Sups, Big Jacobs fan. Use code JACOBS for 28% off at pandasups.com. I recommend getting your hands on their awesome protein products. So we got a brand new update around the Raiders star running back today from an NFL insider, and I'm going to be real with y'all. It's really going to make you question what the hell Jacobs' agent is truly doing. But guess what? At the very end, also, Jacobs spoke about it, and I'll tell you my 2 cents on it. So for those of you that do not know the new update here around Jacobs, he was offered $12 million a year, according to Mike Garafolo, which was stated this morning on the Rich Eisen show. According to Garafolo, he says that the deal was offered before the July 17th deadline. I know there were some people out there that thought that maybe it was a new update, considering the fact that the New York Giants just got a brand new deal done with Barkley. But when you really listen to the show, it sounds like Garafolo was saying that the Raiders presented an offer to Jacobs and his team before the July 17th deadline that was around $12 million per year. And according to Garafolo, the Giants, they weren't willing to go to that Saquon Barkley route of $12 million a year. And also, according to Garafolo, that the Raiders offered Jacobs a contract that both Barkley and Tony Pollard would have accepted. The reason why those two running backs are mentioned in the same breath as Josh is simply those are the backs that have been placed on the franchise tag. So essentially, the Raiders offered Jacobs arguably a fair deal. How about this? Let me know down in the comment section right now. It's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. Give me a Y for yes, or I want you to type your N for no. If it is true, which has been reported by Garafolo and many other NFL insiders, that $12 million was presented to Jacobs, was that a fair deal? Give me a Y for yes, N for no. My answer coming up right here after this YouTube ad break. I hate being a wishy-washy person, but this answer is yes, and it is no. However, I will stand up here. I've said it on social media. I would say it right into the eyes of Josh Jacobs. His agent really fumbled this situation, and I'm going to tell you why it was a fair deal. I'm also going to tell you why it wasn't a fair deal for Josh. Now, we get a lot of people that tune into the show, man. We got over 138,000 subscribers, and a lot of times people say, Mitch, I wish I could send you more in Super Chats. You can, and if you can't, you can also support the show in a lot of free ways, which really I appreciate. You can like the video, you can comment, and you can subscribe. People who I know are doing all 3 of those things. I'm going to make sure that I give you guys shout-outs more because I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me continue to do what I do because I love the nation and I love chasing my dream. So shout out to the Queen and King Sanchez and Julio. Much love, and I salute you. So why is $12 million a year to Jacobs a fair offer? It's top 3 money. I mean, when you look at the top paid running backs in the National Football League on a per year basis in terms of contracts, it is getting closer and closer and closer. And if he would have been given some incentives, he probably would have got up there around a potential Derrick Henry, around a Nick Chubb. And the Garafolo report says around. So it could be a little bit less. It could be a little bit more. My point is the Raiders right now with that deal in terms of salary cap space, it's top 3 in salary cap, and it's right there around top 3 for the highest paid running backs per year on a yearly basis. The next reason why it was a fair offer, it was more than what the Giants were willing to give Saquon Barkley. I think Jacobs is a better running back right now than Barkley, and if I had a team to put together and I could choose between the two in terms of which running back would I want, I would want Jacobs more on this Raiders team. However, I wouldn't blame for NFL GMs and executives out there, head coaches, to look at Barkley because, let's face it, the running back market has gone down, but if you have a back that can catch the football more effectively, which Barkley has shown throughout his entirety of his career, then those are the backs that usually get paid more money. Look at Alvin Kamara, what he was making. More than Derrick Henry. Look at what Christian McCaffrey's making. More than Derrick Henry. Why? Those backs have the ability to catch the football. On top of that, you got to look at both teams, right? And the fact that the New York Giants, a team who made the playoffs last season, wasn't willing to pay their star running back, Saquon Barkley, what the Raiders, a team who didn't make the playoffs last season, were willing to pay Josh Jacobs. I think that is a compliment to Jacobs, especially with the current running back market. Now, if you enjoy any of the shows that we put out here on the Raiders Report, I really do hope that you share this on social media because I'm telling you, it goes a long way. Now, before I show you the last reason of why I do think that it was a fair deal, I want to ask you a question first. And do you agree with this statement? Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler will follow a Patriots blueprint for success. Read it again. If you need time, please do. Agree or do you disagree with the idea that McDaniels and Ziegler are going to follow a Patriots blueprint for success? Because guess what? I agree with it, and I think a lot of all y'all out there also agree with it. So what if I told you that Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler broke their blueprint, their New England Patriots blueprint that goes all the way back to 1979? It's a wild statement, right? Because guess what? McDaniels and Ziegler, they have already broken their blueprint for Jacobs. They have broken their blueprint really for only one player as far as I can tell off the top of my head, and that's for Jacobs. The last Patriots running back that led the New England Patriots in rushing yards 4 straight years or more was Sam Cunningham, which happened in 1975 to 1979. And the reason why that's important is because Jacobs, he's led this team 4 straight years. And if you don't believe me, hey, you can go back on Google and you can look it up. But now I know there's going to be a lot of other people that go, well, Mitch, well, they really only follow the Belichick running back rule. Cool. Since 2000, here you go. Here is every single New England Patriots running back that has led the team in rushing yards per season. As you can see, there is not a single back in here. Doesn't matter if you're drafted in round 1. Doesn't matter what you did the year before. They're going to use you at most 3 seasons, and then they are going to move on. I think we can all agree Belichick had a very successful time with New England during that stretch. Do we agree? Agree? Cool. My point here is Jacobs has led the Raiders now 4 straight years, and bringing him back does go against the Patriot and Belichick way. The number one thing that I think McDaniels and Ziegler are trying to replicate. So my point is it's like convincing not just one, but 2 grown men at the age of 44 years or older to go against everything that they've been taught. And I love my dad, and I'm sure all of y'all right now can think of some man at the age of 44 or over, and I think we could all use the word of stubborn, right? My challenge to every single person out there is this. Find someone over the age of 44, and if you're like, why the hell 44? 1979, 44. That strongly believes in something and get them to go against it. If I had to try to tell my dad to use MapQuest or had to, use Siri to help him navigate through directions, he would never do it. Why? Because in his mind, he's done something the entire same way, and he can get to point A to point B on his own. If my dad tomorrow started using MapQuest and all these other tools out there, Google Maps, it would be the same thing. Problem is, I just simply don't think it's going to happen. And I understand that Jacobs is allowed to feel that he's not getting what he deserves, and he's allowed to feel that the Raiders did him wrong. He's allowed to feel that. But I also can say that if McDaniels and Ziegler believe that they laid out a blueprint and that they are doing everything in their power to follow that blueprint because it worked with Belichick, it worked with the Patriots, and that's what led to Super Bowls, and they're willing to break that for Josh, aren't they allowed to feel that, well, wait a minute, you're kind of making me feel bad also? Coming up next here on the Raiders Report, because every single time I do a show like this, there's going to be people that say the deal was fair and the deal wasn't fair. My job is to tell you my 2 cents, which I did in the very beginning of the show, saying that, yes, Josh Jacobs is agent. He deserves to be fired. But I also want to be able to paint the picture of why it wasn't a fair deal, because there are news things that pop up all the time. There are reports, and I get the fact that not every single person watches the show every single day. Before I show you why the deal wasn't fair, I got a deal that's really fair right now. If you got a sweet tooth and you're looking to try to stay in better shape, because even though it's near the end of July, I still want to be able to stay in shape, especially if I'm going to take my shirt off. So shout out to Panda Sups for hooking up the nation. This deal, it's only going to last for 48 hours, so keep that in mind. The link you're going to be able to find down in the comments and in the description. 28% off. I know it's Jacobs' old number. Use code Jacobs at pandasups.com. Their chocolate protein is amazing. Their fruity cereal one tastes like, literally, it's like Fruit Loops milk on the bottom of your bowl. And the vanilla, if anybody out there likes to mix in fruits and all that, Chugs is in the background fist pumping. I literally got the entire Chat Sports office on it, and I know people are always like, well, do you actually use the products? If you follow me on social media, you'll know my freaking cupboards are stacked with Panda Sups. And they also have brand new 2 flavors. Their strawberries and cream has real bits of strawberries in it. Their cookies and cream, it's like dunking a chocolate chip cookie in milk. The shit, it's actually fire. So 28% off, pandasups.com. Use code Jacobs. I promise y'all, he's a big-time Raider fan. He's been supporting this show for 2 years. But I can also, I'll say, I'm not going to guarantee anything because everyone, you never know. It's my favorite protein. I've used it for over 2 years, and I bet if you have a sweet tooth, you're also going to absolutely love this protein. So let's now go into why the deal wasn't a fair offer to Jacobs. From what it sounds like from Jacobs on social media and people who I talk to, it sounds like the 2 biggest things that he wanted was maybe not so much of the money per year or how much in 1 year. He wanted security and guarantees. So what does that mean? He wanted a multi-year deal, and he wanted the extra guarantees of that contract. So even though Jacobs has disputed the $12 million rumor from Garafolo, Jacobs also has disputed rumors from Adam Schefter on top of that, because there was a report out there that he received a contract at $22.2 million of guaranteed money on a 2-year deal. And if it's true that it is under that, and the people who have reported it, I am simply going to trust because I trust Adam Schefter. And the fact that it was $22.2 million or under that, you got to be able to look at it and say, if I'm Jacobs' standpoint, the reason why $22.2 million is an important figure is because he's making $10.1 on the tag this year, and then he would make $12.1 on the tag next year. $22.2 million. Jacobs would want more than that, and I totally get that. The final reason is this. The first offer that was presented to Jacobs' team, I guess I should say, was July 8th. So, like, if I'm the Raiders, you're only giving them 9 days. Like, Jacobs wanted the deal to get going a lot quicker, and I do think both sides could have done a much better job of really trying to communicate and get the deal done. It almost reminds me of like in a relationship where, I love my fiance very much, but my biggest thing was I'm a big communicator. She would have been the person that, she could have gone somewhere for 24 hours and I wouldn't have heard from her. But good teams figure it out. Now we communicate. Jacobs and the Raiders need to communicate because I want this to turn into a happy marriage, not an angry divorce. So I tweeted this out bright and early this morning. The more details that come out around Josh Jacobs and his contract negotiations with the Las Vegas Raiders, it seems to me Jacobs' agent really fumbled it. If I was close to Jacobs, I'd recommend him looking for a new agent. In today's current running back market, the deal the Las Vegas Raiders offered to Josh Jacobs doesn't seem like a bad one or an unfair one. If I was someone close to Jacobs, I'd tell him to fire his agent, get back to Las Vegas, sign a deal because he has no leverage at this point right now. That is my 2 cents on this entire Josh Jacobs situation. It was reported this morning by NFL insider Mike Garafolo on the Rich Eisen show that Raiders running back Jacobs was offered $12 million per year on a 1-year contract before the July 17th deadline. But I don't know if Jacobs, what he thinks. He tweeted this out this morning, common sense, not too common clearly. And then somebody responded to his tweet saying $12 million a year sounds like common sense to me. Then he said, use your context clues. Well, let me say this right now. Josh, from the bottom of my heart, and I don't know if I speak on behalf of Raider Nation here, but the cryptic high school bullshit It's got to stop. Just tell us what the hell is going on, or it seems like you're lying. If you want a platform to inform everybody of what's going on, here you go. Raiders Report on YouTube. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. The DMs are open at Mitchell Renz 365 because I'm sorry, I can't take this petty bullshit any longer.